Google's featured snippets have long been the holy grail for content creators that care about SEO traffic. If you want to get traffic from Google, landing that featured snippet right up at the top is one of the best ways to attract the most clicks and impressions for any type of query that you're trying to rank for. And in this video, I want to show you how I used AI to get a featured snippet for a relatively competitive keyword phrase within just 5 days of creating that content and publishing it on my blog. This topic was inspired by a question I got from a reader. Are keyword tools accurate? Is the search volume data that we see actually going to be reliable? A lot of people make really big decisions on their content plans based on what keyword research tools tell them they should go after. So is that an actually good way to make these kind of content decisions? And the answer that I found was kind of. So I began this research and comparison process by comparing 4 different keyword tools. Number 1 was Google's own keyword planner tool, Ubersuggest by Neil Patel, and then 2 of my own keyword tools. One that's free on my blog, free keyword research tool by Ryrob, and then the keyword tool that's inside of RightBlogger. And what I saw through all of my testing was that the results pretty much varied across each tool every single time. However, there were ranges that all of the results fell in, and that led to my conclusion that these tools are directionally useful, which to me means that you should not consider taking exact numbers from these keyword tools and making decisions based on what those exact numbers are. These are just ranges to consider. They're great for discovering content topics to pursue, but they're even better for prioritizing how to pursue the topics that you know you already want to talk about or that readers, viewers, listeners are asking you about. And now I want to show you how I went about creating the article based on this core belief that I found from my experiments. The first thing I did was I popped open the article writer here on RightBlogger. Now, I typed in the topic, the keyword phrase, are keyword tools reliable? I turned on the edit outline function because I want to make sure that I can structure the exact way that this article approaches the topic. I selected some details here, and then in the additional instructions, I added what my key takeaway is on this topic. I wanted the article writer to work with what my foundational principle belief is on this subject matter. And from here, I moved into the outlining process. Once I was in the outlining process, I made some slight tweaks inside each of these sections just to make sure that the additional instructions were going to be exactly how I felt my take was going to be on this subject matter. And then once I dialed in that process, I went over here and I generated the article. And in less than a minute here, you can see that I generated a first draft article that was 1,400 words in length. Now, this isn't exactly what I would copy and paste and publish into my blog post, but this gave me the core foundation for how I knew I wanted to approach this subject. So I clicked copy over here on the post from RightBlogger, and then I went over into my blog in WordPress, and then I pasted that first draft right in here. I went, grabbed some screenshots, rewrote the introduction. I think there's a big part of using AI tools in your content creation process is that you really spend the time to weave who you are, your examples, your personality, your style, your tone into the creation of any piece of content you make. I added this little key takeaways call out box here because I think this visually stands out for readers who land on the page. And this in particular is what Google decided to swoop up into the featured snippet. So I'm a big fan of adding a really clear key takeaway box somewhere near the top of your article. It's not always going to guarantee that you'll land a featured snippet, but it's giving Google a signal. It's saying, hey, here's what the key takeaway is of this article. And that is what works wonders that I find in my content. And of course, throughout, you can see I spent a lot of time making this article useful. I included real screenshots from my keyword research comparisons. I included my takes, how I feel about this topic, and what the results were of my experimentation, so the readers could also make their own conclusion. And then finally, I wrapped this article up with something that I felt is really important to this topic: how to think about using keyword research tools. Number 1, discovering new topics to consider. Validating demand for a topic that you know you already want to talk about or that people are asking you about. And then of course, number 3, the best way is prioritizing and ranking the topics in your content schedule. So knowing what you want to talk about on your blog, on your YouTube channel, your podcast, based on what real people are asking you is always going to be the best way to choose topics, but using keyword research to make sure that others actually want to learn about that topic is a really good way to leverage these kinds of tools. And I included an example here from Google's keyword trends data to show the difference between homemade chocolate pie and homemade apple pie. The example that I was using previously was homemade chocolate pie, and I thought, hey, this seems like a great term that's validated. I should pursue this. But then when I compared it against homemade apple pie, another topic that I haven't covered yet, I saw that homemade apple pie consistently gets far more readership and views and searches. And so I chose to pursue that one first. Last but not least, I included links to all of the keyword research tools that I personally use today. And this rounded out the post with some more key takeaways and really gave people a foundation of how they should think about using these tools in addition to answering their question. So when you're thinking about grabbing a featured snippet, really put yourselves in the shoes of the searcher. Is it a question that you're answering? Is it a process that you're teaching? Really provide actionable, real takeaways for people and move that up somewhere near the top of your post. Having a key takeaways section that's really clearly visually identified as that, or having a table of contents that walks through the 5 steps to achieving XYZ that you're teaching in your post is a great way to encourage Google to swoop you up into featured snippets. One final takeaway: if you care about landing a Google featured snippet, you're going to want to spend some time optimizing your content for SEO. I use the Yoast SEO plugin for WordPress, the free version. I've used it for more than a decade now, and it's a great tool. You can input your focus key phrase here, and you have the ability to custom write your SEO title, the slug, which is the URL for your article, and the meta description. It will give you an SEO analysis to show you how well you're doing. Do you have your keyword phrase mentioned enough times? You can see here that the tool suggests I don't. However, I already landed the featured snippet for this keyword phrase. So think of a tool like Yoast SEO as also just being directionally useful. It's okay if you leave your content under-optimized, but directionally, it's going to send you in the right place. And to help you fill out all of these SEO fields when you're creating content, over here inside RightBlogger, if you use our tools, we have this SEO tab for any piece of content that you create. And when you click on that, you'll be able to instantly generate an SEO meta title, a meta description, the permalink that's recommended, and then of course the keyword phrase that you should put into Yoast. There's some variability to this stuff. Again, AI tools aren't perfect, but follow what your gut says and combine it with how these tools can help you speed up your content creation process. This is how I'm consistently creating content using the help of AI, while still also weaving in my own personal take on the subject matter, my voice, my tone, my style, my examples, who I really am into each piece of my content. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you like this one, I know you're gonna like this one too. Check it out.